morning, students. In earlier class, we have seen so how the efficiency of the riveted joint is going to calculate by knowing the strength values in tension, shear, and crushing, and as well as applications of the riveted joints. And coming to today's class, so one of the application of the rivets or riveted joints is applicable in pressure vessels or in boilers. So we know that the boilers which can hold the gas pressure inside that, so that is the steam pressure it has to hold, so we need to provide a leak proof joint. So here, so in today's class we can see what are the different joints are going to use. So in the boilers, so in your earlier course you have studied the thin cylinders in mechanics of solids. There you can know, so the longitudinal and circumferential stresses are subjected to the boilers or thin cylinders. So here, so in order to design boilers, we need to follow the Indian boiler regulations so that it can have the greater safety. So let us see, so what are the different joints we are going to use in the boilers and how the designs are going to be performed. And first of all, so going to the boiler joints, so the boilers are going to be formed by means of the thin sheets, so that are to be enclosed to form a cylindrical shape. So and then we can join so all these cylinders together to get a required length. So here for forming the thin sheets into circular rings, so we can use the longitudinal joints, which are butt type of joints. And after forming the thin sheets into cylindrical shapes by means of longitudinal butt, so all these cylindrical rings can be, so you can observe this is the one ring that can be formed by means of one sheet, and this is another ring that can be formed by means of another ring, which will be joined by means of longitudinal butt. And both the rings, so all the rings together we can join, will get a required length of the boiler. So and these rings can be joined by means of a circumferential lap type of joint. Clear? So these are the two different joints are going to be used in order to make the boilers. So one is a longitudinal joints to form the thin sheets into circular cylindrical ones, and that is a diameter we can obtain in the longitudinal joints. And after getting the cylinders, we can join the cylinders together to form a required length. That the joints we call it as circumferential lap joints. And coming to this designs, so first one is a longitudinal butt joint. So first one, so you can observe, so this is the longitudinal butt type of joint, which is triple riveted joint is there. So you can observe clearly, so this is the shell plate. So we can use two number of straps. So here the outer strap is a narrow one, so which is a narrow one compared to the inner strap. So and it is a triple riveted joint. So you can observe 3 rows of rivets in each plate. So this is the plate one. So that is one end of the sheet, and this is the another end of the sheet. So which means this dotted line indicates one side of the sheet, and up the side you can observe it is another form of the sheet. So here you can observe 3 rows of rivets. So it is it is a row 1. So it is a row 1 and row 2, and this is a row 3. So 3 rows of rivets, as well as you can observe the outer row of rivet having the pitch P, and the inner rows, so the row number 2 and row number 3, so the rivets having the pitch is equal to half the number of pitch. So which means as well as all the rivets so in the inner rows are zigzagged type of riveting. So clear? So this is the butt joint with a double strap, and the inner strap is wide one and outer strap is narrow one. So widths are different different widths of straps are used. So and the outer row of rivets having the pitch P, and the inner rows of rivets having the half the pitch, and inner rows of zigzag type of rivet. This is the case. So you can also go with the equal size of straps also. So this is the basic longitudinal type of butt joint we can use it in the boilers, which is a triple riveted butt joint with an unequal width of straps and outer pitch of the outer row of rivets as pitch, and inner rows having the half the pitch and are arranged in zigzag fashion. So this is how the rivets arranged are here. So outer row, middle row, and inner row. So you can observe outer row having the pitch equal to P on other side of the plate, as well as the inner rows are zigzagged here. So and their pitch is equal to half the pitch. and for finding that, the thickness of the plate can be denoted by T, and the thickness of straps can be denoted by T1, and the diameter of rivet is D, and thickness of plate is, you know that, so P is the pitch. So all the things are same. So and here you can observe for unequal width of straps. So the outer row of rivets can be only subjected to the single shear, and the inner rows, that is the middle row and inner row, subjected to the that is a double shear. So if it is an equal number of equal width of straps, so then all the rivets are subjected to double shear. But in this case, for the rivets, so there is unequal width of straps, so that outer rivets subjects to only single shear, and the inner and middle row of rivets are subjected to double shear. Now let us go with the procedure. So how the design are going to be performed. So in the first one, we need to find out is the required thickness of the boiler shell. We know that the boiler, so we consider, so it is subjected to the longitudinal and circumferential stress. So it is considered as a thin cylinder. So the thickness of the boiler can be found out by using the thin cylinder formula, that is given by T equal to PD by 2 sigma T. So we know that this is a basic equation for that. So where T is the thickness of sheet we required. So and the P, so it is a capital P, that is a pressure that the boiler has to hold inside the cylinder. So that is the pressure inside pressure of the boiler in Newton per mm square. And capital D is the diameter of boiler or cylinder, and the sigma T is the permissible tensile strength of the sheet material or the boiler material. Clear? So here, so along with it, this is the basic equation for this thin cylinder formula. But coming to the case, so here for joining the plates, so we are going to drill holes. So we are making a drilling operation. So whenever we can drill holes, so the strength of the material is going to reduce. So that so we need to take the reduced strength values. So we know that the strength of unriveted plate to the strength of our unriveted plate is considered as an efficiency. So that we can consider the efficiency efficiency in the equation. So that is PD by 2 sigma T into efficiency of the joint. We can also take the efficiency. So why? Because we are drilling a hole, so that so the strength of the plate is going to reduce. So we can consider the efficiency in the equation. Apart of that, we can also consider, so the boilers are in operation. There is a chance of that is what the chances of corrosion or erosion, so that the material is going to erode or corrode. So by means of the working conditions, so the thickness of the metal is going to decreases by means of this corrosion. So we can so that the life of the boiler is going to decrease. So in that case, so for that instance, we can provide so the additional corrosion allowance as 1 to 2 mm as a corrosion allowance for that equation, that is denoted by Ca. So finally, the thickness of plate is calculated by P into D. So where P is the pressure inside the boiler, D is the diameter of boiler, and sigma is the tensile strength, and eta is the efficiency of the joint, and plus corrosion allowance you can take 1 to 2 mm. So this is the very first step in the design. You can find out the thickness of the required thickness of the boiler plates or shell. Clear? So that is how we can find the thickness of boiler shell. And second one, the diameter of rivets. So here the diameter of rivets are going to find out so in two different cases. If the thickness of plate, so whenever the thickness of plate is greater than 8 mm, so our calculated thickness of plate is greater than 8 mm, so then you can find the diameter of rivet small d. So using the Unwin's equation, that is what the standard equation, d equal to 6 root t. So that is what written here, d equal to 6 root t. So when the thickness of boiler shell is greater than 8 mm. So if the boiler thickness is less than 8 mm, then the diameter of rivets is going to find out by equating the shear strength to the crushing strength of rivets in the joint. So that is PS equal to PC. So the shear strength of rivets, we know that so shear strength can be written as so in earlier class we discussed shear strength can be written as pi by 4 d square, that is a shear area. So pi by 4 d square into tau into, so that is a pi by 4 d square, the shear area of single rivet, and tau is the permissible shear stress, and that can be denoted by n. But in these cases, so whatever the case we have considered, so the outer row of rivets only considered to single shear, and there is inner row and middle row is subjected to double shear, so we can denote with N1, so plus N2 into, so pi by 4, so we can take the cross sectional area for the shear resisting area is taken twice for the double shear, but according to Indian boiler regulations we can take it as 1.875, instead of 2 you can take 1.875, so N2 into 1.875 pi by 4 d square into tau. So that finally you can write, so the shear strength can be written as, or here I can write, so shear strength of rivets in this case can be written as N1 plus 1.875 N2 pi by 4 d square into tau. So this gives the shear strength for our case. So if both the straps are equal widths, so that we can avoid these 1.875 into N2. So sorry, N1 is going to be 0. Why? Because all the straps are all the rivets are in double shear. So here the straps are unequal width, so that outer row of rivets subjected to, so that single shear, and the number of rivets in the inner row and middle row subjected to the double shear. So in the for double shear, according to IBR, that is Indian boiler regulations, you can take, instead of 2 you can take 1.875 for finding the shear strength of rivets. So that can be equated to crushing strength of rivets. So we know that crushing strength can be written as so N into D into T into sigma C. So here all the rivets are subjected to same the crushing strength. You can take the total number of rivets here. So by equating these two equations, we can find the diameter of the rivets in the case when the thickness is less than 8 mm. So whenever the thickness is less than 8 mm. In no case the diameter should be equal to the thickness. So that you should remember. So that is D equal to T, you should not less than that. And third one, so we need to find the pitch of rivets. So that is the distance between the center of the rivet to the consecutive rivet, that we call it as a pitch. So here the pitch of rivets is going to find out, so by means of using the relation, so that is the pitch should not less than 2 times of diameter of rivets, so which is necessary for formation of head, and the maximum value of pitch should be find out using the proportionate value according to Indian boiler regulations again. So that is so CT plus 41.28 mm. This is the maximum pitch you should provide. So where C is the constant value that depends upon the number of rivets per pitch length as well as the type of joint. So whether it is a lap joint, a butt joint with single strap, butt joint with double strap, and the value of constant value you can take it from this table. So you need to remember for basic values. So generally you can use the number of rivets per pitch length as 3 in longitudinal butt. So you can remember so 4.05 and 4.63. So you can remember 2 or 3 values from this table for regular usage. The most usable or most example problems consider. You can remember those values of C. So here so T is the thickness. So using that values you can find the maximum thickness of pitch, and minimum thickness should be provided as 2 times of diameter of rivets in order to form the head or rivet head. Clear? So after that I can find so the distance between the row of rivets. So in the diagram you can see, so the row transverse pitch that is denoted by PD, or row pitch you can denote with PR. So that can be given by, so if the inner row of rivets are arranged in zigzag and not in zigzag fashion, so it is used in zigzag fashion, you can find the row pitch as 0.33p plus 0.67d for zigzag riveting, so that you can get the row pitch. So row pitch in the sense, so the distance between the, so 2 pitch, that is the distance between the inner row and the middle row. So that is what the row pitch as well as middle row to outer row distance. So if it is a zigzag riveting, you can provide it between the inner row and middle row. You can provide a 0.33p plus 0.67d. So if it is a chain type of riveting, you can provide 2 times of diameter, that is 2 times of d. So for chain riveting, so this is distance between row of rivets, that is PR or PT. And then finally you need to find out the thickness of butt strap, that is a strap thickness, that is denoted by T1. So if the thickness of straps, so depends upon the width of the straps. If the width of the both the straps, inner and outer straps, are equal number of width, so for that the T1 can be taken as 1.125 into T. So both the strap thicknesses are taken as same. So for that is for equal straps. So when the width is equal, so then you can take T1 equal to 1.25 T. So for unequal width of straps, the thickness of straps can be taken as T1 is taken as 0.75 T for wide strap on the inside, so that the thickness is greater compared to the thickness of strap on narrow side on the outside. So that is T2 equal to 0.625 T. Clear? So if it is a double strap with the equal width, you can take 1.125 T. If it is a double strap with unequal width, so T1 is taken as 0.75 T, which is used inside that is a wide strap. Inside it is going to use. So and it is taken another T2, that is a narrow strap used on outside, 0.625 into T. So where T is the thickness of plate or boiler shell. And finally, you can also need to provide the margin. So we stated that the marginal area should be provided as 1.5 times of diameter. This is how the design of longitudinal butt joint is to be find out. So firstly, you can find out the thickness, so using the boiler thin cylinder equation, and then find out the diameter of the rivets based upon the thickness of the boiler shell you are obtained. So if it is less than greater than 8 mm, you can use Unwin's equation. If it is less than 8 mm, you can equate as crushing strength to the shear strength. And third one is you need to find the pitch of rivets, or the minimum which you can provide 2D. So if it is greater than, so if the maximum which you can provide CT plus, that is P max CT plus 41.28 mm. So the C value is constant based upon the number of rows per number of rivets per pitch per row, number of rivets per row as well as per pitch length, and the type of joint, lap, butt, or double single strap or double strap. You can use the value of C. And nextly, you can find out the row pitch, so which is 0.33B plus 6.7D for zigzag. So it is chain, you can use as 2D. And the thickness of straps you can find out, that is T1. If it is a equal width, 1.125 T. So it is unequal widths, the inner strap width can wide strap, that is taken as 0.75 D, and narrow strap outside used is 0.625 T. And finally, you can find the margin taken as the standard marginal area, 1.5 times of diameter. And coming to the next another type of joint, that is a circumferential lap joint, which is a lap type of joint. So you can observe here, so this is the lap type of joints, all the rings together we can make that can be joined by means of rivets. That is a lap type of joint we can produce. So here again the design which starts with the that is a thickness of cylinder shell. So and then the diameter. So here for the longitudinal butt as well as the circumferential lap. So the thickness of boiler shell, the finding out the thickness of boiler shell as well as the diameter of the rivets are both are equal. So that is the first two steps in the design of longitudinal butt joint is same for the circumferential lap joint. The thickness is to be found out by means of finding the values of thickness by means of thin cylinder formula along with the circumference, along with the corrosion allowance and efficiency, and diameter is found out using the Unwin's as well as you can equating the shear strength to the crushing strength. And then you can need to find the number of rivets required here. So here the number of rivets required in this case is going to be found out by equating the shear strength of all the rivets. So here it is a lap joint, so that all the rivets are subjected to the single shear. So that has to be equated to the gas load, that is the maximum gas load that is acting. So the gas load you can written as that is a diameter of, that is cross sectional area of the cylinder into gas pressure inside the boiler. So that is 5/4 d square into pressure inside the boiler gives the maximum the gas load that is a gas load or pressure, steam pressure inside the. So due to the steam pressure, the total shearing load acting on the circumferential joint, that is what we call it as gas load. That is the cross section area of boiler into gas pressure gives the gas load. So we can equate these shearing strength of all rivets to the maximum gas load acting on the joint by means of gas pressure inside the boiler gives the number of rivets required in the joint. So that is the step number 3. You need to find out the first step. You can find the thickness and diameter. Third step, you can equate the shear strength of all rivets to the gas load due to the gas pressure inside the boiler. So by equating these two terms, you can get the number of rivets required in the joint. And next one, a pitch of rivets, that is a pitch between the rivets of the circumferential pitch. Here we call it as, so that you can denote with P1 instead of P. So that can be finding out by means of the efficiency, circumferential efficiency of the joint. So efficiency of the joint can be given by, so P1 minus D, so divided by P1. So here it is P1 is the pitch between the values, that is the distance between the center of the rivets, that is the unriveted plate to the riveted plate to the unriveted plate. So all the terms get cancelled. So P1 minus D by P1 you will get. So by using the efficiency of circumferential lap joint, so you can find the diameter is known. From that you can find the pitch of rivets, so of the joint between that. So after knowing the pitch of rivets and number of rivets in the total joint, you can find the number of rivets in each row. So if there is a double row of rivets, so we can find out as instead I can use the single row of rivets. So no need to find the number of rows required. So if there is a number of rivets are greater in the, so that you can go with the number of rows required. So total number of rivets are known, as well as the rivets in each row is known. So that is getting by means of number of rivets in each row is getting by means of pi d plus t by pitch. So that is P1, pitch is calculated here by knowing that pitch. So the circumference by pitch you will get the number of rivets in each row. So that we know the number of rivets in each row as well as number of total number of rivets in a joint. From that you can find the number of rows are required. That is total number of rivets in a joint divided by number of rivets in each row. So that is given by pi dt into pi dt by pitch P1. Clear? So that is the number of rivets in a row as well as the number of rows, N1, denoted by N1. So here it is denoted by N1, number of rows. Clear? And lastly, you need to find out the distance between the rows of rivets. Again, it is similar to the longitudinal joint. If it is zigzag, the distance can be taken as 0.337 into D plus P plus 0.67 D. So if it is a chain type, we can use 2D. So which is the same as in the longitudinal joint. If it is a zigzag, can take 0.33 P plus 0.67 D, and you can take 2 times of D for chain type of riveting. And lastly, you can find the proper margin to be provided for that. So it is taken as 1.5 degree. So the 3 terms are common, the longitudinal to the circumferential. One is the thickness, diameter, and the row pitch, as well as the margin. Only the thing we need to change here is, so firstly you can find the number of rivets in a row by equating the shear strength to the gas load acting in the boiler by means of gas pressure. That will get N. After that you can find the pitch from the circumferential efficiency of the joint. So we will get the pitch. So by knowing the pitch and number of rivets, so you can find the number of rivets in each row. So by means of circumference by pitch you will get so the number of rivets in each row, so that you can find the number of rows required, that is N1. And lastly you can find the number of distance between the rows of rivets and margin. Clear? So this is how the design of longitudinal butt joint and circumferential lap joint are going to be designed, which is to form the boiler according to Indian boiler regulations. This design procedure, which is used for a theoretical procedure for academic purpose. Clear? So in next class we can see how the design of joints are. So when the load is acting eccentric to the with respect of center of the rivets, that is eccentrically loaded riveted joints in the next class. Thank you.